Hello and welcome to Algebra 2, Chapter 2.2, and today we're going to discuss slope and rate of change. So to remind you what slope is, and I'm sure you all know, it's the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change, more commonly referred to as it's the rise over the run. The rise would be your vertical change, the run is your horizontal change. We do use m to denote slope. If you have two ordered pairs, you're going to use your slope formula. So this part is called your slope formula. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Otherwise, if it's graphed, you can definitely feel free to count the rise over the run. So if we have two ordered pairs, you really need to use your slope formula. By the way, somebody once said, how do you remember it's the x is on top, or y is on top, x is on the bottom? And it was a former math teacher, and she said it's the yam and the yogurt on the picnic table. So if you think of a picnic table that has the crosses for the ends. So the yams and the yogurts on the picnic table, otherwise y's is to rise as x's are to run. So y's and rise rhyme. All right, so we're going to plug in some points. It doesn't matter which point is point 1 and point 2. Lots of people do this is point 1 and this is point 2, but you get the same answer if you switch it. Just make sure the x and the y for each corresponding ordered pair stays as either 1s or 2s. So in this case, we're looking at -1 minus a -4. Watch out, that is a minus sign in the middle. And then 3 minus a -2. Minus a negative becomes plus a positive, so we're looking at 3 over 5. Slope must stay as a fraction, so if it's improper, leave it improper. Do not change it to a mixed number. And since it is a fraction, you will always reduce it. We have 4 classifications of slope. So you want to go ahead and draw in 4 coordinate planes. We have a positive slope. Positive slope, so otherwise m would be greater than 0. We have a negative slope. M is less than 0. When you have equations that you're graphing from, if m is positive, it has to rise to the right. If m is negative, it has to fall to the right. Has to. There's no exceptions here. If it's horizontal, we consider this to be 0 slope. So m equals 0. And if we have a vertical line, then your slope is undefined. And m doesn't equal anything because it's undefined. If you think about these last two in terms of rise over run, okay, this one has no rise, but lots of run. We'll just say over some x for run. Well, 0 divided by anything is 0, so that's where we get our 0 slope there. On the other side, though, that one went that way. So if we go this way, we're going to have a rise, let's call it y, but there's no run, right? And so when you divide by 0, you do get undefined. So there, it's just all based off that rise and the run. So we're asked a few things here. The first thing is to find the slope through the given points, and then we're going to tell whether it rises, falls, is horizontal or vertical. So if you have two ordered pairs, you're looking at your slope formula. And so if first point would be 1, second point would be 2's. If we're looking at 5 minus 3 over 1 minus a -2, which is going to give us 2/3. And it's positive, and so positive slope rises. Okay, so those are the two things we're looking for there. And for the other one, and by the way, if you do not have your slope formula memorized, my suggestion would be continue to write on every problem. I think writing it is the fastest way to remember it. So let's switch it up. Let's do 2's over here and 1's over here this time, just to show you. -2 minus a -2. Well, that one didn't really switch. But 1 minus 3. So if we look here, that's going to be 0 over -2. 0 divided by 0 divided by anything 0. And if you have 0 slope, it is horizontal. There you go. Okay, the last thing we're going to discuss is parallel and perpendicular lines. In algebra, when we discuss parallel and perpendicular lines, the only thing we're concerned about is their slope. So I don't care that they never touch or they cross at right angles. I only care about their slope. So parallel lines have the same slope. That is how they stay equidistant apart. And perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Okay, that is how they meet at 90 degrees. Remember, opposite reciprocals of one is 2/3. The other one would be a -3/2. I've also have in here products are -1. If I multiply those two together, I get -6/6, which is -1. So our final question is, are the lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? And you just need to find the slope of each line. You can use any kind of notation, so maybe I say slope of 1 and the slope of 2, just so I can keep them straight since they're called line 1 and line 2. -2 minus a -2 over 3 minus 1, so that is 0 over 2, which is 0. And on the bottom, 4 minus 4 over 0 minus a -5 is going to be 0 over 5, which is 0. If they both have slope of 0, we're going to surely hope they're parallel, right? Any two horizontal lines would be parallel. And for our other one, slope of 1, we're looking at 1 minus a -2 over 4 minus a -2, 3 over 6, which is a half. Always reduce those. Okay, and on the bottom, 5 minus a -3 over 1 minus a -3 equals 8/4, which is +2. And how's 2 and a half related? They are just reciprocals. They are not opposite reciprocals. Not what I got anyway. So my guess, or my answer, is going to be that they are neither. All right, that's what I have for you for 2-2. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you later.